Be realistic. Make sure what you're doing is based in data, that you have feedback from your students, that you're not trying to do something crazy that you really can't implement, that you won't have support for. The next is practice. Practice is so important over and over again. Make sure you pilot or try something out with your students before you do implement it, especially before you assign a grade to something. Associating a grade with a new technology is very, very tricky. So make sure you practice, and your students get lots of practice using new technologies in the online environment. Make sure that you contextualize what you're doing. So you may be using social media in your classroom, and someone else may be using social media, that something new that you want to try, but it may not work within your discipline. It may not work right within your course. So make sure that you add your context, or put your context around whatever technology you're trying to implement. Always make sure that there's help available. Don't try to do this on your own, even if it's a colleague at another institution or students you have in your classroom that have used these technologies before in your online classroom, or even in a face-to-face classroom. If you've tried out a technology there and you have students who can help you, or faculty or colleagues, other colleagues who can help you integrate these technologies into your online class. Documentation, help, training, anything you can do. Just make sure you have help and that you're not trying to do this on your own. And one of the things I advocate very strongly for is sharing. Share your results. Share what you've done. Share what's worked. Share what didn't work. Have your students really provide you with feedback. Hear from them and tell your colleagues. Tell people, other people at your institution, at other institutions, I've tried this technology. Present at conferences, write blog posts about it, but share what you've done so that others can learn from your success, from your failure, and from your students, the whole experience. The most important one is to really go back to what is it you want your students to do. Everything that you're doing, every tool you're exploring, anything you're trying to integrate should be tied somehow to the objectives, your learning objectives in the course. What do you want your students to do? How do you want them to do it? How are you going to measure it? How will you know that you've succeeded? What will success look like? Really keep that in the back of your mind as you're going through. Also very important, as technologies change, maybe you need to change. Change your approach in your teaching, maybe your approaches in online assessment, anything. Keep an eye on those technologies. When will you know it's time to change? How can I tell when it's time to change? Keeping up with evolving technology can be overwhelming at times. So I'm going to share my little trick with you, and that is search engines. Whatever your favorite search engine is, learn how to use it and check on a regular basis. Online teaching and learning tools, tips and tricks, technology for teaching online. Become friends and get to know your search engine, your favorite search engine, really well. Social media is a wonderful way to stay informed, to stay on top of new technologies for online teaching and learning, but not everyone uses social media, and you may not be comfortable using social media yet. Find what you're comfortable using. If you're comfortable reading a magazine, find a magazine about technology and teaching and learning and explore there. One thing that we give up when we grow up is the sense of play. And it's so important to bring back that sense of play as you become that explorer in the online teaching and learning world, and especially when you're using technology and looking at technology. So learn to play with technology.